my name is Rachel Howarth and this is a video to demonstrate the safe extinguishing of a temporary campfire. So here I've had my fire. You can see that the embers are still sort of smoking. There's still some sort of light parts of heat, and when I put my hand over the top it's very warm. So if I were to add water now, what we'd get is a lot of steam going up, a lot of smoke, and it might also disrupt the embers so that they are blown away and cause a fire hazard elsewhere. So what I'm going to do to begin with is use my stick, and I'm going to just gently, very gently start spreading these embers around in the soil. So the site that I've used today is a temporary site, but you might have a permanent site in a forest school. So with a permanent site you do the same thing, and the difference would be the way that you leave the site. With both options, you would certainly remove any kind of fuel. So when I go away today, I will make sure all of the fuel that I have used is moved away and not left nearby. So you don't want to encourage others to use your fire pit. So as I've kind of disrupted those embers and spread them around, it's just started to rain as well, which is very handy. You can see the heat is dissipating. Just going to move them around a little bit more, stay cool. An important part of ending the forest school session is to extinguish your fire. So you might have a song that you sing with the children around the campfire to sort of say goodbye to each other at the end of the session, and then make extinguishing the fire a part of that ritual. Turning it into the soil, dissipate that heat, and it's much cooler. There's still some warmth on there, so I'm just going to continue for a bit longer. So as I was saying, with a permanent fire site, you'd obviously have the fire square set up and the site set up at all times, but you would want to discourage others who might use the woodland to set a fire there. So removing any kind of traces of your fire and any fuel that you have is very important to ensure that nobody else comes along and thinks that they can sort of use it for a fire, which might be unsafe. Same for a temporary fire site like I have today. So I would remove any fuel, and I will try and remove any evidence of having had a fire here to discourage others from using it as well. So I'm still just sort of moving these embers around, and the heat is really reduced now, much better, and it's almost ready for me to pour some water on to really dissipate that heat. Still a few hot spots around here where there are some larger pieces of wood that we've been using. Okay, so I can feel around just over here a little bit more of the heat. But I think we're almost ready to very carefully pour some water on. Spread that out. There we go, lovely. Okay, and the rain is helping us as well. I'm going to pop that there, and I'm just going to use my jug of water and very carefully begin spiralling some water around, making sure I get those furthest away as well, spiralling the water around from the outside into the middle of the fire site to really extinguish those last few bits of heat. Again, around the outside. You can see that is really cool now. I might just do it one more time, a good measure. Round from the outside, spiralling into the middle. So if I were in the woodland, this space here that we've created for purposes of the video is on a hard standing concrete slabs. So if I were in the woodland, I would then be able to dig over just a fine layer of that soil to cover up this ash here. So you would use maybe a digging tool like a spade or a fork to just sort of turn the soil over, cover up the ash that you have. And then you would replace anything that you removed, so leaves, for example, leaves and twigs that you've removed from the site for your temporary fire, you'd then replace over the top to ensure that you'd really covered the ground, you'd left it as you had found it, really. So I'm just going to carefully kind of cover up the ash that's left behind from my fire, spread it around so not obvious for others, and it doesn't encourage others to come and light a fire here as well. And then what I would do is replace any leaves or anything that I had taken from the area back on top to ensure it kind of blended into the natural surroundings. Okay. And what I'll do now is remove my fire tools, so my fuel, my lighter, my gloves, my water, everything that I brought here with me today will be removed so the site was left as I'd found it. Thank you.